Hey guys, so today I'm planning on making a pumpkin gingerbread soap, and I've already prepped a few things. I've got my fragrance oil here, and I had about an ounce of a pumpkin pie fragrance oil, so that's in here, along with about an ounce and a half of Gingersnap fragrance oil. Now I'm just going to call it gingerbread though. And I've got some pumpkin puree here. Let's see, I've got 45 ounces of oils, so at 1 ounce of pumpkin per pound of oils, that works out to about 3 ounces. So I've got 3 ounces of pumpkin puree here, and because there's water content in the pumpkin, I discounted my water by 3 ounces. And here I've got some orange mica that I mixed with a little bit of the oils pulled from my total just to work out the clumps. And for my oils here, I've got 50% olive oil, 30% coconut oil, 15% avocado oil, and 5% castor oil. And the first thing I'm going to do is add my pumpkin puree to the oils and then stick blend it to really mix the pumpkin puree in really well. You don't want chunks of fruit or vegetables in your soap because then they can go bad. You want to make sure that your puree is very fine and that you incorporate everything in really well. There it is. Just going to hit it with the stick blender. And both of these fragrance oils discolor the soap brown, and I wanted to do a pumpkin soap, but I didn't want it to be brown, so I thought, well, what can I do to kind of work with the brown? And that's why I decided to combine the pumpkin with the gingerbread, Gingersnap, I'm calling it gingerbread, and that way I could color half of the soap orange and leave it unscented, and that way it would stay orange. And then the other half I could add the fragrance oil to, and it would turn brown, and that would be fine because that would be the gingerbready part of the pumpkin gingerbread. Okay, so my oils are at 92 degrees and my lye is at 102. So I'm going to go ahead and add the lye. And I'm going to hit it with the stick blender again to bring it to trace. Alright, that took a while to trace, but finally at kind of a medium light trace. So I want to divide my soap exactly in half. So I know that my bowl here weighs 441 grams. So let's see how much it weighs together. Okay, so everything together, bowl and soap, is 2,342 grams. Minus the bowl, which is 441 grams, that equals 1,901 grams. And since I want to split that in half, I'm going to divide it by 2. So I need about 950 grams of soap in each bowl. I'm really bad at eyeballing, that's why I've brought out the calculator. Okay, so I'm going to pour out 950 grams. Alright, I went a little over there, 956 grams, but that's alright, I'm not going to sweat it. Okay. So to 1/2, I'm going to add the fragrance oil because it's going to discolor brown, and I just want half of it to be brown. Soap is thickened up some, but that's okay. I want it a little bit thick for this project, so I'm going to pour it into my vertical mold. And I want kind of a medium trace at least to keep the design crisp. Okay, so there goes the fragrance oil. And I hope having all that fragrance oil in there won't accelerate the trace too much. Okay, so this is scented and it should turn brown, so I'm not going to bother with any colorant because I want it to be brown. This one though, it's already a nice orange color, but just to make sure it stays nice and orange, I'm going to go ahead and add this. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I've got my vertical mold here, and it's got a divider in the middle. And I'm going to do my best to evenly pour both bowls of soap into the mold at the same time. Seems to work best if you can simultaneously pour. That way the divider doesn't slip around and the walls of the mold there don't slide around on you. Good if you got a buddy to help you with this. Alright, this is getting pretty thick, so it's time to pour. Alright. You can see that alright. Try to lift it up here so you can see me pouring. Almost to the top there. I'm just going to scrape the rest out until I fill the top. I may have a little left over. I'll go find another mold to put the leftovers in. And that's good. There's a shot of the top so you can see what it looks like there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the divider out just a little bit, just enough to get it out of, there's a little groove down there that holds the divider, and I'm just going to take it out just enough to get it out of that groove, and then turn it 180 degrees. And that should make a neat kind of circular, half circle pattern in the soap. Take the pin out. Alright, here's the scary part. Make sure I do this right. Lift it up a little, and then turn it. And then pull it out. I hope I did that smoothly enough to make a crisp pattern. If not, it'll still be pretty. And since this is just the end piece anyway, I'm going to scrape what's on here back into the mold. Don't want to waste any soap. Alright, we'll see what it looks like when I cut it. Okay, so here it is. And this recipe made a really soft soap. I left it in the mold for a little over 2 weeks actually. And the way the mold is set up, if you remember, the top is exposed, so there's not a lot of opportunity for water to evaporate while it's in the mold. So to get it out, I actually took it out of the wooden part of the mold, and it still had the white walls around it, the liner around it. And I put it in the freezer for a few hours and then was able to pull the white liners away. And then I just let it sit for a couple days, let the the soap firm up a little bit, dry out. And so now we're ready to cut it. It's nice that this log of soap fits into this mold because I've got a little cutter and a guide here because I'm not good at eyeballing where to cut. Now this is the top where I poured in the spare soap, so that's not a real good indication of the design, I hope. And again, that's near the top where I poured the spare, but over here you can see the beginnings of the design. And the idea was to have a half circle of orange against the brown and a half circle of the brown against the orange. And it's kind of yellowish now, but as this soap sits out and it's exposed to the air, the yellow parts should turn a dark brown. And you can see on the edges it's already, especially on this end piece, it started to turn a dark brown already. So the rest of it should do that too. There you go. Not quite as crisp as I would have liked on this side, but still nice. They'll probably all look pretty similar from here on out. The soap is cutting nicely now. It doesn't seem all that soft. That one's pretty nice, pretty crisp. And that's getting toward the bottom, where I took the divider out. End piece. So in a few days, the yellow parts should turn a dark brown, and I'll take some photos and show you what that looks like. Bye guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.